Oh, I've just spelt your name wrong. Oh, God, I'm an idiot. I'll go back and fix it up when we're finished.
No issues. All good. No issues.
Hello, Josh. How are you?
I'm good, Vanessa. How are you?
Good, thank you. And welcome to Food Logic and our Facebook Live session.
Thank you very much for the invite. Very honoured.
It's actually a bit of a nice way to kick off the week, actually, is having a chat to you and learning a little bit more about your trade and your career and your choice of becoming a chef, and just learning a little bit more about you, which is pretty exciting.
It is. It's quite it's quite the adventure, I guess.
So before we start, what are you collecting behind you there?
So I collect. So I'm a collector of different anime, Japanese anime, Marvel collectors, all this stuff. We're right into this, me and my partner. Dragon Ball Z, all the gaming sort of stuff. We're all right into it. Marvel, DC. We're quite the collectors of all that stuff, actually.
That's pretty cool.
What we do in our free time when we've got a bit of money to spare.
So where do you buy your figurines?
Generally online, through collectors. Always looking at the marketplaces on Facebook and all those fan fairs in America and all those things. We get a lot of them from overseas, through Japan. Bandai is one of the companies that do most of the stuff that we buy. We get it all mostly always online. A few times I've been to different places and bought them in person. But we're pretty anal with the quality of it. They've got to be looked after, and boxes have got to be in good nick for us to even,
Are they expensive?
They are fairly expensive.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, some of them vary from $200 or $300 to right up. Some of the pieces we have are over $1,000 each, easy.
Really?
So yeah, we've got a couple. Yeah, we've got a fair bit sitting here.
Oh wow! And we just don't really want people to know that. But
no.
So how are you going? How are you handling the lockdown?
Yeah, no, I'm handling it well. Doing the takeaway service through work, so that's keeping me most of my time occupied there. Running from Wednesday to Sunday at the present. We've shifted our hours slightly to adjust to, the people in the area and people coming down and supporting us, and we're supporting them best way we can. Get their favourite snitties, pizzas, some takeaway cocktails. As of this week, we're doing takeaway beer growlers as well. So that should be well. So that's been keeping me busy.
So what are you doing? Takeaway what?
So we're doing a basic takeaway menu. So, schnitzels, pizzas, because they're our popular seller, being classic pub food, I guess. And we're also doing takeaway cocktails, takeaway beer growlers as well now.
What's a beer growler?
So it's one of those, it's like a small flagon bottle.
Oh, okay.
The handle, and you fill it up with beer. Most of the pubs are getting on board with it now.
Oh, wow. And how do you, and the beer, when you take the lid off and everything, is it a screw cap? Like, what is it?
Yeah, screw cap.
And the beer's it stays aerated, like it's still got all the wow.
Yeah. So if you pour it fresh on the same day for a couple of days like that, keeps it nice and fresh, and it's in that nice bottle, and you might get 2 free schooners out of some of them, because you got a growler and then you got a squealer. And these ones we're doing at the moment, like for Father's Day, we did a special for our locals as well. And we're doing squealers, which is a smaller bottle. So it's about
a growler and a squealer.
So a growler is basically, a growler you can get roughly 4 schooners out of, whereas a squealer you can get maybe 1.5, 2 schooners out of.
And they call it a squealer because people just squeal when they've run out of
It's an interesting name, isn't it?
Can I have a growler? Oh, actually make that a squealer. Oh my goodness, I've never even heard of that in my life.
So we're offering that as well.
It's kind of like, where do you take the conversation after that? So you had a busy Father's Day yesterday, I saw.
Yeah, we did. We had an interesting group of people turn up. We did about 35 packs yesterday. We had three staggered times for collection, so we did an 11 a.m., a 12 p.m. and 1 p.m.
Okay.
So we did a basic Father's Day package. So we did a full rack of pork ribs,
which I actually have to say, I was very pleased to see that you actually cooked your own.
I did. I went right into it. I made my own rub, did my
Actually,
own rub
no.
on it, dry rub.
It's not that I'm glad to see you cook your own, because there's some great companies that are actually cooking pork ribs, but it's great to see you using an Australian pork rib is what I meant to say.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
There's plenty of those shelf stable, yucky, horrible imported pork ribs in plenty of pubs. So it's good to see you using them.
You can't beat the Australian stuff. You just really can't. The local produce, Australian produce, it's unbeatable.
Yeah, I agree with you. And so what are you doing at the moment? So are you planning for when you reopen, or?
Yes, we are. At the present, we are, like I've mentioned to you before as well. We were looking at launching our new menu prior to lockdown. So that's something that we're currently in the process of reassessing and getting ready to launch when we do open. So we'll open and launch our new menus then. And we change our menu regularly. We generally have, seasonal menus throughout the year. So we'll change it a few times to, for the winter months, you got the winter dishes, and then in the summer months, you get more salads, vibrant colours,
Yeah.
That's what we're in the process at the moment, getting ready to reopen and assess where we're going to be. It's going to be an interesting start. It's going to be a challenge, open for the vaccinated and we're not going to be at our full capacity straight away. Of course,
no.
We've in restrictions as well still, which we've done before, and we've adjusted to that. So we got our game plan for that, which is good. Like most companies, they've got their COVID safe plans, things like that. We're all over ours, across all our venues.
Good on you. Good to hear.
No, so that's the plan. Reopen and get back up to where we were and just keep going up. Just keep going forward. That's the only way going forward.
You know what? And it absolutely will just go forward. And we're going to get into that in a little bit, because I want to talk about Penrith and it being now a bit of a dining destination. But talk to me and tell me about how what made you decide you wanted to be a chef?
Well, for me, growing up as a young child, I didn't have a real lot to do with food. Mum always cooking at home,
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Sydney. Grew up on the started off on the Northern Beaches. I was born in the Royal North Shore Hospital and was brought up on the Northern Beaches in places Forestville, French's Forest, over that way.
Okay.
And then towards, when I started getting a little bit older, we moved out to the western suburbs. So we're living out more towards Mount Druitt area.
Mm-hmm.
So I spent most of my younger life growing up there as well. And then, I pretty much was up until I moved out of home. I was living in that area. When I moved out of home, I ended up moving to Penrith. That was around about the time my father got really ill with melanoma and passed away.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
No, that's fine. That's it's 10 years this year, so
wow.
It's a tough day for me yesterday, but I had my mind occupied, which is good.
Yeah.
But I moved out to even more west. Moved out to Penrith, got myself a place. Moved in with my partner. Together, we moved together, and been in Penrith now a while, 7-8 years at least.
Wow. And were you in Penrith when you decided to sort of go down that whole cooking path?
Probably not. I've been in the whole time that I've been working seriously, like in the companies that I've been amongst and the positions I'm in, I've been mostly in Penrith. But my career pretty much started from when I moved out to the western suburbs from the North Shore.
And where else have you worked?
So I started off when I first started. I started off in a place called Zippo's Restaurant, which is no longer there. It was on the water at Cole Bay in Blakehurst. So that's where I first started off as a first-year apprentice.
So that would have been a pretty big travel from where you were. So. Wow.
Yeah, I was traveling from pretty much Mount Druitt through to Blakehurst every day, catching 2 trains in, train into Redfern and a train to Hurstville, and then I had to get a bus down into Cole Bay. And if I didn't leave at a certain time out of Cole Bay at night, I'd get stuck because there wouldn't be a bus going back. So I'd either have to walk 45 minutes, nearly an hour back up the hill through Blakehurst into Hurstville to catch a train into the city. And then if I get into the city at a certain time, I miss the train to go back. So I got to catch the night ride bus home. So it was many nights there that I was traveling on buses and that 1, 2 in the morning to get home, only to go back, only to get up at 6 a.m. and go back again and start work again the next day. So I was doing that for a little while. I didn't, got a bit too much after a while, but I mean, that's where I started out. They had a fine dining restaurant downstairs, and upstairs we had a brasserie. And I did a little bit of work down in the fine dining when they did events and things, but I spent most of my time upstairs in the brasserie. And that's where my love for pub food and that began.
You like that whole fast pace and thinking on your feet and being a problem solver. And,
yeah. And not only that, growing up as well, my brother as well, Matthew Watson, he was also a chef when he was young. He started when he was 15. But yeah, growing up and having a brother as a chef and going and seeing him at his pub and seeing what he does and seeing how he brings food into his life and creating things. And when we're together as a family, the food brings us all together. And getting in the kitchen with him when I was first starting out and getting my hands on and everything was really good.
That's so cool. So is your brother still chefing? He
is. He's the part owner and head chef of the Berry Hotel in Berry.
This is
down the south coast.
This is why I love these sessions. You just learn so much about people, and Berry's like the most beautiful place.
Oh, it's a lovely place.
It's beautiful.
It is.
Oh, wow.
And my mum lives down that way now. When we lost Dad, we moved Mum down south. That's where Mum and Dad wanted to be. So we did vaguely move them down there before we lost Dad. And yeah, so Mum's not far from there either. She's living in Bomaderry.
Oh, beautiful.
About an hour as well. So that's, it's a lovely place as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, Berry's a beautiful town. I mean, my brother's worked down there for a long time now. He's been there for a while. So it's just a lovely town, lovely pub. Everyone knows everyone. Everyone's lovely. It's good. It's really good.
And you haven't wanted to move down there as well?
Oh, it's been on my agenda for a long time. It's been on my brother's agenda as well, trying to get me down there and work for him one day. It's always been in the back of my mind where I'm going to be. I'm not going to always be doing the same thing for a while. I've got it really good where I am at the moment, Marla Hotel Group. But it has been on the agenda to move down south because it's beautiful down there.
Yeah.
So it's somewhere I have been looking at possibly moving in time. And it has been on the agenda to do it.
Fabulous. So once you moved on did you do your entire apprenticeship?
No, I did. So basically I was there for about 6 months. So I learned a fair bit while I was there. And then that was around about the time Dad got sick. So the traveling was getting a little bit too much. So I decided it wasn't for me. So I'll try and get a job a bit closer to home. So that's where my journey began with the Peachtree. Actually, I ended up going down looking for a local job at a pub in my local area, which is Penrith, at the time. So when we'd moved to Penrith. So I went and had a look around the venues. And I mean, I was still living in the Mount Druitt area at the time, living with my in-laws, my partner's family. So I'd moved in with them for a while. So I was looking around the local area in Penrith, and I applied at a few places. A few places got back and said, look, we haven't got anything at the moment. But then the Peachtree got back to me and gave me a call, and I went down and had a trial there. And yeah, pretty much I walked straight into the kitchen as an apprentice with them, and they took over my whole apprenticeship contracts and things like that. And yeah, I was there for nearly 2 years. So I did more of my apprenticeship there after I left Zippos.
That's
really
where
my
cool.
journey began at the Peachtree. So
really,
yeah, so I was there as an apprentice,
you kind of
right up the
come
ladder.
back around.
Yeah, I've climbed up. You might as well say I've climbed up the ladder. I mean, I've left there and been at other venues since, and then gone back there. I'm now back working now. I've been back there now a lot of years now. But before that, I was there as an apprentice. I left there after and went and worked at Toongabbie Sports Club, because at the time the sous chef that was at the Peachtree left and became the head chef at the Toongabbie Sports Club, and he contacted me and he said, I need staff. Would you be interested maybe doing a few days and see if you like it? Maybe come across and work for me. So I thought, okay, I'll stay working at Peachtree for now. So I did. And then I went and did 2 days. On my days off, I went and worked at Toongabbie Sports Club with him. And no, it was good. That was where I got more of a hands-on experience with, you know, the operations of a bistro. I was doing most days through the day. I was just doing the things on my own, like through the bistro, you know, from the grill right through to the pass, just to get a hands-on effect, where I taught myself a lot. Like I learned a lot from working there as well. It was mostly because I was thrown in the deep end to learn. So that's what I did. And I took everything in and then just built upon that. So I ended up leaving Peachtree and working there full time. And I was there for about close to 12 months as well.
Wow. And then after you left there, where did you go to?
So when I left there, I was going for a little bit of a time in my life. I was starting to get on that serious like level of thinking about, am I doing the right things? I'd had a few bad experiences in between with it. And I was just at that level where I was thinking, am I doing the right thing?
With chef,
do I really want to be a chef?
Chefing, okay.
And
do you think that comes though with is that because of the way that you're treated? Is that the pressure that we put on ourselves? And I don't want you to go into specifics. I'm not asking for that, but just because from a learning experience, what was it that you struggled with at that time?
I mean, for me, it was, after doing all the long traveling as well, like for that 12, you know, that long period of time I was traveling long hours, I wasn't sleeping. I was going home only to be asleep for maybe 2 hours and then have to get up again just so I can make it out there, because it was a decent hike. It was at least 2.5 hours for me to get to work every day. So I was losing a lot of sleep. I wasn't eating very well. So then trying to adjust to that when I was working a lot closer to home, trying to adjust to all of that. And it was just like a constant change for me. And at the time I was, you know, I'd lost dad and I was going through that period as well. And it was just getting pretty tough for me. And then, you know, just working at these places and, you know, learning, and it was tough. I mean, it was tough. But you just got to put your head down. You just got to work. And that's what I did. But I did get to that stage where I thought, is this what I really want to do? Because I have to be serious. I come out in an apprenticeship, I've got to make sure it's what I want to do. I've spent 4 years studying to do this. And then that's where I just recapped. I think I took maybe 2 or 3 months off.
Okay. And what did you do during that 3 months?
I was just, you know, studying other things. I did a little bit of programming, things like that. Just keeping myself entertained, like, because I was right into computers at the time. I was doing things like that. I helped out with my oldest brother's company. He did a bit of painting, building decks, you know, fitting out offices, things like that. I was doing a bit of that with him because dad would often do that on the side with him as well, as my dad was a builder's labourer by trade. So, and my brother the same. He was a project manager and did all that stuff as well. So I worked with him for a while as well on the side through that period. And then when I got back into it, I went more to the cafe side of things. I worked in a few cafes, various roles. Before that, actually, when I first went back after leaving Toongabbie Sports Club, I went and worked in a French fine dining restaurant in Linfield called Cafe
Which
Dion.
is actually a pretty nice restaurant. I saw that. Yeah, well, I actually used to supply them in one of my former lives, and I actually really love that place. And I remember sending, I think it was Adam Moore that I got him to go there as well because of the situation of where the restaurant was. There's not a lot of passing traffic and stuff, and it was kind of like, what could we do to try and build the patronage a little bit, because the food that he was doing and the service and everything was fantastic. You just don't see that everywhere every day. So
no, you don't. He did have a way with that. He was a good chef, Rainer. I learned a lot from Rainer while I was there. You know, it was more for me getting my mindset back on the traditional French ways of doing things, from, you know, the French techniques and things like that. For me was really good. Like it taught me a lot, and it
Did it
recapped
help you
everything I
to,
learned through TAFE and things like that as well, through my whole training progress as well.
help you find your
Um,
passion again? Help you?
it did. It did.
That's
It really
good.
did. It really did. I mean, I was only there for a short period of time because as well was a bit of a commute every day.
Yeah.
Um, and but the time that I was there, I did learn a lot, and I'm very blessed that I had the opportunity to learn. I only wish that I, at the time, my situation, everything, I could have stayed on and kept it out, because I think it would have been a really good thing for me. I still talk to a few of the people I worked with there as well. But yeah, no, it's good. It's been a good experience so far with all that sort of stuff in the early parts of my career, because it's helped me now as a chef develop and grow more and more, towards moving forward and becoming better and better,
I really love that. That's actually really nice to hear. And I guess the reason why I'm kind of scratching this a little bit more is that at the moment we've gone from a period of time where we were shut down last year, and everyone was kind of like, oh my God, it was kind of a bit of a rest, JobKeeper came in, and it was a bit of a sigh of relief. Everyone was able to have a bit of a break, if you like. I know that people did it really tough, so I'm not generalizing, or I am generalizing. And then, they came back to work and it ramped up and everyone was really busy and business was starting to look like it was coming out of that rut, if you like, that they'd been through. To then all of a sudden going to shut down again. As a chef, how do you get your head around that? And how do you go from being really busy to kind of going, well, I don't even really know what to do?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was a challenge for me as well, because going from that period where we were hustle and bustle and it was just ongoing, every day we were busy for a period there, to the point where there wasn't a day it really was quiet for us. Even the night times picked up on a Monday, Tuesday, and then down to nothing again, like you were saying, going to a lockdown, and then we're at that period now where we don't know what we're doing. Like, for me, keeping that passion going in my mind, keeping myself active, looking at where we're going to be when we reopen, and then looking where we were, things that we can improve on while we were open to when we reopen again, and just building upon it.
So with
just keeping positive.
So exactly. So with the maturity that you've taken from when you're a bit younger, because honestly you're still a baby, but to kind of now where you've learnt, you've been at those low points and you've had to pull yourself out of it. Did that prepare you a little bit better for this and give you the tools that you needed to be able to do that again?
It did definitely. I mean, after the first lockdown was a challenge for me in a sense, because at the time I was a sous chef at the Peachtree, and it was a challenge for me because it was obviously a first for a lot of people, and it was being in a lockdown, we've never had this before, so we didn't know where the company was going to go, how we were going to get through this, and that I know it would have been a lot harder for the business owners, that run the Marla Hotel Group and other hotel groups throughout the industry, and all other independent restaurants, things like that, cafes, a whole lot. I know it would have been a lot harder for them because they've got a lot more things to look at. But for me, as a chef, it was just finding my place, where I'm going to be. Am I going to be still doing this when I come back? And building upon it. Just but keeping positive. I've stuck it out this long. I'm going to be okay.
But you're obviously
keep myself engaged. And
you obviously stay connected, because look, I've been doing these every single day, as you know now, for the last 4 or 5 weeks. And when I do the social posts and I put it out there and people comment and engage, like yours just went off the chart. Obviously, you're very highly respected and highly regarded. And I can only say that that's because you're very connected and you support a lot of the other chefs in your area. Would that be kind of a true?
Definitely. I mean, I've always, that's part of my upbringing as well. I was brought up as a young child to be very caring. I've got my mum to thank for that. The biggest heart for everyone. I mean, there's been times in my life where I've had the biggest heart, and obviously I've been let down a lot of times with different things, even including our industry, different places. And I mean, I got a big heart. I care. I always put everyone else before I put myself. And where I can help people and offer them help and support them, I'm willing to do it. And that's why I like to reach out. I like to network, reach out to other chefs in the area and build those relationships and just check, if there's anything I can do, if there's something I can do better, I'll learn from them, they'll learn from me, engage. And that's the good thing about that. Through this lockdown, it's been this second lockdown, it's given me that, time to be able to engage and reach out and, see how we can all help each other get through this second lot of lockdown.
It's amazing. I love that. Like, you've really just you've really like lifted my spirits, and thank you for that. And I'm sure that obviously everyone that you do connect with is very appreciative of the fact that you are so supportive. And I guess, how big is the team that you have at the Peachtree?
Yeah, I mean, we got a big. Our brigade's grown over the years. Obviously, back before Marla Hotel Group bought our venue, we only had a small kitchen and maybe only had about five chefs roughly at a time. Whereas now our brigade's 12, 13 plus.
Wow.
And that's just at our venue. And I mean, that's even saying that, it'll increase. It'll just get bigger. Across all our other venues, we've got multiple big venues as well, and we've got brigades even bigger than that. So for our brigade to build to where it is now, and that's really strong, I'm very proud of my staff. I've trained a lot of them up to, we all work together. We're there to do the same job. Doesn't matter what we are. If we, dishwasher right through to myself, head chef, right through to our executive chef, Tim, we're all there to do the same job. We support each other. We start together, we finish together. So, and I've built a really good relationship with my staff, and they do all respect me, and I respect them very well. And I've been keeping in contact with them throughout this lockdown, regular weekly Zoom chats with them all as well, just to check in and see that they're all right, and make sure that we have no one falling through the gaps, and that everyone's going to return to work and return to what we were doing before, because we're a family. I treat them all like we're a big family. My family away from home.
That's just so, I'm actually getting all like emotional. It's just so beautiful. It's so nice to like hear that somebody's taking the time to really check on their staff, and also know the signs, Josh, that you need to be able to identify when somebody is struggling.
Oh, definitely. That's something I've taken upon me as well, like keeping in regular contact with my chefs. We have a WhatsApp group where we constantly talk every week, every day. People are talking throughout it, and it's good. Just keep an eye on, we have a laugh. If we're feeling down, it makes us feel better. If there's something we need, we can reach out to one another, help get through. Like I was saying before, that's what I want to do. If I can be helped to get through, I can help others to get through as well,
It's amazing. And tell me, how's your brother doing? How's he doing in Barrie?
Yeah, he's been doing well. I mean, the first lot of lockdowns, he was working for a little while, and then he shut down. This time around, it's the sort of same for him as well. Like I said before, he's with the growlers and things, he's actually doing that at the moment. It seems to be doing pretty well for him. So that's keeping him busy as well. He does good down there.
That's good. I'm glad to hear it.
It's well known throughout all the area down there, and the community really supports my brother, and the whole community support the business, which is good. And I mean, being in a country town, the locals, you've got the farm surrounded by beautiful farms, you have that support. It's just a completely different hub to like, a city or a CBD or, the suburbs, you might as well say.
But Penrith's a lot like that now too, isn't it? I mean,
so
let's just morph into our Penrith discussion. Yeah. And I was fortunate enough to be able to go out there for dinner, and that's when I first met you. I think it was.
Yes, at the Savoury Dining.
Not so long ago. And Penrith's like, I mean, Adam Moore's been kind of spruiking this forever, and you kind of go, yeah.
Local legends.
No, but you kind of take it on board. But like, it's a bit mind-blowing. There is so much. I know that Penrith's always had the the largest demographics, you know,
Yeah,
and that's why they use it a lot for testing of different concepts and et cetera, et cetera.
definitely.
But it's like so good.
It is. It is. I mean, we've got burger joints popping up, as Adam mentioned that night when we were at that dinner. There's burger bars opening up everywhere in Penrith. It's becoming like a burger capital now. You know, you got the likes of Burger Head. You got, you know, downtown Brooklyn. You know, you got all these new ones even opening up. Like, for instance, I went on Uber Eats the other day to see. You know, felt like something was a bit peckaged. Didn't feel like cooking, so I went on to have a look what's on there at the moment. And just all these new burger places that you walk down mainstream Penrith and you wouldn't see them because they're all hidden in different streets and back streets and alleyways. They're everywhere. But not just
Which is
burger
kind of
joints,
cool, which is
everything,
kind of, yeah.
restaurants.
And that becomes that whole cool food vibe of, you know, having that whole laneway and, you know,
Yeah,
that
it
whole
really ties in.
rebel sort of branding. But how do you then, as a gastropub, I suppose,
Yeah.
how do you then compete with that market? Do you think you'll still continue to do takeaway once we come out of this?
I mean, we were doing takeaway through our normal service as well. I mean, it
Okay.
wasn't as busy, obviously. I mean, we're not doing Uber Eats or Menu Log or any of those. We're just doing, you know, order over the phone or come down to our bottle shop, make an order and pick it up at the present. But I mean, before, you know, you come, you order your food at the bistro at the counter, it'd be the same. They were doing the takeaway service as normal, you know. If you want something to take away, we were doing that still. I think we still will do like that takeaway service when we reopen as well. I mean, for now, the takeaway service we're doing is just to keep. I mean, it's not making a lot of money as it wouldn't be, but I mean, it's keeping staff, some staff wages going, keeping them in the job, keeping their mind active. So when we do reopen, we can engage again, and we're already been engaging throughout the lockdown. And
Yeah.
I mean, we're still supporting that. We're supporting the locals that, you know, they can still come down and get a food if they don't feel like cooking when they come home from work, you know, and come down to the bottle shop, you know, buy a 6-pack and they can order a pizza and, you know, go home, take a bottle of wine, go home, you know, and relax. And it's good. You got a different range of options as well as just having the takeaway bottle service going, you know.
I love the way that you started with your people first. I think, you know, that you just actually hit on 3 really important points, which is keeping them engaged, keeping them working, but also keeping their mind active.
Definitely.
That's so refreshing to hear somebody talk about their people like that.
Yeah, and that's something I struggled when I was younger to do. So to be able to have overcome that and be able to teach others how to engage better and that, because I didn't have that opportunity when I was younger, because I struggled with it myself. To be able to help them with something that I struggled with when I was a younger chef, it really helps.
And do you think that is so why did we not have it when you were a young chef coming through the ranks? Was it something that our industry was lacking, or is it just, you know, mental health and well-being has just become a lot more, where we're a lot more aware of it now?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it was more of a mental health thing for me. You know, it's low self-esteem, things like that when I left school, and losing my father at a young age and things like that as well was tough. I mean, just that transition through things. And I mean, chefing's not the easiest of trades. I mean, people read books, they watch videos, you know, they see things like Gordon Ramsay, Hell's Kitchen, all this stuff. I mean, yes, it does happen in some places, but it doesn't happen everywhere. But there is places you work where it is tough. It is long hours. You're doing, you know, 13, 15-hour days with a short break. You're not eating. You know, they encourage you to eat, but if you don't have time, if you're behind, you don't eat. And just you don't sleep. You know, it's just these constant issues that all chefs, you know, have to deal with through their transition. It's something that I struggled with when I was younger, and that's why my self-esteem wasn't so good and my mental health was getting a lot worse. I mean, as I've grown older and been in the industry now longer and worked with some really good people and how they do things and engage myself, like I was saying before, with others, I've been able to get better and I'm more stronger with that all now. and be able to help other people like I struggled with, it's good. I
That's
feel it makes me
fantastic.
feel better that I can help other people with something that I struggled with because I've been through it myself.
Yeah, no, and it's good to be able to see those signs. So getting back to the Penrith food hub, if you like. So
Yeah.
as you said, there's, every type of shop or project or initiative or concept that you can think of popping up in Penrith. But there's also a lot of great producers and artisan products out there as well.
Well, we're right on the forefront of the Hawkesbury, so we've got all, we've got all,
And
like I was saying,
the mountains, and even
mountains,
even like the south, really. I mean, you're kind of like in the center of it all.
We are. We've got a lot of good artisan and produce in the area. Coming from the Hawkesbury, coming from the mountains, we've got a lot of, farms. We've got brewers, everything in the mountains, out in the Hawkesbury. It's really good to have that local produce. And I try my best every now and then to do, like, on my special board, try and do something different and try and utilize some of the local stuff as well. And I mean, we get it, a lot of the locals will just keep coming back just for the specials every week. And we've got a few of those locals that are always asking, oh, what's on next week's special? Because what you put on this week was great. What we had last week was great as well, And being able to do that, and that shows that, I guess that showcases my relationship and respect for food as well, to be able to do that and pair some nice things together. So that's a really good meal and that someone can enjoy it, and they will pay the price for it.
Yeah, I think that, well, I don't know. Our research has kind of always said that, it's an occasion, right? And if you're looking at going out and you want something, price kind of takes precedence, really. So your consumers, over the years being in that pub space, how have you seen their behaviors change? In that, once upon a time, like you said before, you'd go to a pub, it would be bistro, you'd just want to have a steak sandwich or fish and chips or whatever it was. But like, you guys are doing really good food. Pubs in general are doing really good food now.
Yeah, I mean, it has adjusted from the whole, back in, like you're saying before, where it was, you go down and have your steak sandwich and a beer or
there's nothing wrong with that. I mean,
there's not. I mean, that's what I used to do as well. Couldn't beat a good old steak sandwich. It's one of the Australian staples, I guess. Have a steak sanger
or a T-bone and chips and salad.
T-bone and chips, that was also my go-to. And a beer to wash it down. But yeah, I mean, it has evolved from even, schnitzels. Like, everyone does schnitzels now. Everyone loves a good schnitzel, but I mean, you got, increasing your menu to have different items as well as just schnitzels. Pizzas, burgers, salads. Even, a lot of places now are doing different sort of salads, like your poke bowls, your Buddha bowls, all these sort of things. Like that's to get that different effect, like to help people that don't eat meat, like vegetarians, vegans. There's that option for everyone on a menu now. Whereas before, you couldn't, like, you just order a salad if you couldn't eat meat and things like. Whereas now there's options where we can get creative, and we do get creative with these things and give them that option to have. So it is evolving in a sense from just the old steak sandwich and, bland beef burger right up into all these great options that people offer now. And being able to evolve, which we have, pub food has evolved in time. I mean, people still love and come down and have their staples, but people are also trying different things now, and being able to offer like nicer plated dishes and things like that, whatever's on specials and all that sort of stuff.
But sometimes it can be
different
just,
for them.
Yeah, and sometimes it can be just about jazzying up the traditional, doing the whole value add. So, you've got your schnitzel, your panko crummet, or whatever you do to it. I mean, it doesn't have to just be the everyday schnitzel, but you can have that as well. And then you can have prawns with it. You can add some local, I don't know, whatever. I mean, it's just endless as to how you can bring sort of that fusion of new and contemporary together.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, there's a lot of people getting right into the fusion now. I mean, savoury dining, for instance, the Vietnamese French style as well. A lot of places are getting into that fusion and incorporating fusions of different cuisines and different styles of cooking into their menus. And I mean, as I guess for most pubs being that now pubs are going in that more gastro, fine casual dining scheme of things. It evolves more and more as you progress. Like I was saying before, you go forward and up. So there's an endless amount of things that you could do. But I mean, when you're in a place like Penrith where there's burger bars everywhere, there's restaurants, everything.
And fried
We try
chicken.
and offer, and fried chicken, I know.
I have never seen so much fried chicken in my life.
I know they're popping up everywhere as well. Being able to still offer that really good pub food and to evolve it has been really good as well. And I mean, we still get our locals coming down every week. I mean, they might like their burgers, go and have a burger elsewhere, but they know they can't beat the food when they go get a really good pub feed.
Yeah, and do you spend some time taking staff out to different farms around the area or different artisan producers or just anyone that's doing something out of the ordinary to create that training?
Look, I wouldn't say I personally have been out to most of these places. I've got to do it more often.
It's tough though,
I do like since I've been networking and everything, getting on with all, getting in amongst the suppliers and all the farmers and that, and building that relationship with them to the point where I can be able to go out there and see what they offer and that. And then, I mean, I try and work closely as well with our executive chef, Tim, who does that as well. He tends to go around to the different companies and see what they showcase and then seeing how we can, build up that relationship with them, try their products. If their products are much better, we're going to use their products and then try and use it across our whole venue, sort of all our venues. And being able to do that, and for me to be able to get involved in that and get my hands on and have a look at how things are done and that, because obviously you're still learning every day. That's good for me as well. So I definitely that's something I want to do. I want to get more out there, especially when COVID's over, and go and visit, the farms and all that and see what more is to offer.
Yeah, I think that's really good. And if that's something that comes out of this whole lockdown phase, is just wanting to get in touch with your local area a little bit more, I think that's great.
Yeah, because prior to lockdowns, I was, I'd go out and dine at different places and see what they're doing and talk to the chefs and engage, and get that feel and taste their food and see how I can, get better with my food as well. And that's been a good thing for me as well prior to lockdown. So coming out of this lockdown, then I'm going to be going out and obviously talking to the people who produce the food, like I said, the farmers, the artisan bakers, all these people are doing great things. And yeah, be able to engage with them more as well.
And you've got a lot of the primary producers are just out that way as well. You've got mushroom farms and everything. It's incredible. And honey the honey and just the different products that are coming. I mean, Adam's a lot more across it obviously than what I am, but I think there's a chocolate maker out there now as well. And
there's even that Japanese brewer.
Yes, that's right. The Japanese brewer. There's
the only one to brew outside of Japan.
Wow.
That was very interesting to hear that.
Oh yeah, he's a bit of a wealth of knowledge, the old Mr. Moore.
He's a good bloke. He's a legend.
He goes all right, doesn't he?
He does.
And
he's a good chap.
He is a good chap. So what's your favorite food?
Well, look, I've spoken to you before. I love smoking food.
Yeah.
Cooking on coals, that's my passion. Something I started up maybe 2 years ago with my father-in-law, and we were getting right into it. I mean, America was right into all the smoking, all the barbecue joints all through Texas and, up into New Orleans and all those areas up there. And it was a big thing across the States. And I mean, a lot of the smaller blokes in Australia were only just starting out there, the likes of Black Bear and all the smaller places that are doing it. And we got right into it. Like between us, we had a few smokers together. So cooking out in the yard rather than cooking in the house and getting used to cooking on coals as a sense of adjusting temperatures with an oven
Were
and
you
that.
kind of a bit intimidated by it all at
Yeah,
first?
yeah, and just the thought of the food coming together. I mean, it's right. I got right into that whole theory, that Lennox Hasty from Fire Door.
Yes,
Yep.
yes.
I got right into the way he speaks about fire and cooking with fire and the whole element of it all, and I got right into that. Like I've taken that right in and incorporated that in when I do it myself, and that's where the passion, this cooking on fire, being able to taste it as well, like taste the food from the fire. It tastes so different, and yeah, I just love cooking on coals.
And you're
I'd
doing
rather, if
it.
I could do it all day, every day, I would.
That's amazing. And also, do you do anything over wood as well?
At home, I do. I don't do it at the present at the venues, but it's something that obviously we're looking at in the near future, possibly maybe having a smoker and that, and doing some different stuff as well. But mostly at home, I will cook on wood. Generally, that's where we get our coals from. So we just, different timbers, mesquite, hickory, all these different timbers, applewood. It's really nice flavors come through that timber.
So
and you taste that in the food.
yeah, 100%. And it's interesting what foods take on those flavors really, really well. One of the interesting facts that I learned quite some time ago is that when you're slow cooking, say a joint or a primal of beef, for example, you don't have to go with the very best of quality. You want something that's quite fatty that can become quite gelatinous. Do you play around with the different meats as well?
I do. I mean, with some meats, they are tougher and they are fattier. Like some products, you got to, make up some brines, put some brines in to try and tenderize it a bit. Like, different techniques. Like, for instance, different cuisines do that with their meat, where they, use things like cornstarch and things like that to tenderize the meat. Or like you do with squid, you can soak squid in milk just to help tenderize it more. It's the same with food, like with different meats, different cuts of meats, being able to taste it as it is, and then how can you make it better? And I mean, I make my own brines, I make all my own rubs, my own sauces, all from scratch. And that's something that's worked well for me, being able to see how you can adjust to the different cooking of the different meats.
So that's just become a bit of a
fire, cooking on fire, and being able to learn how to cook each of them on fire without overcooking them, getting them to that perfect doneness, not being overcooked, not being charred, so you can taste the flavors of the meat rather than just taste the smoke and taste, the embers.
So if somebody
to do that's good.
So if somebody was watching this and they were really interested in looking at getting into this type of food, I suppose, and playing around with the different ideas, what's a good place for them to start? Like, did you watch the Lenny Hasty show, or did you read a book? Where's a good place to start?
I mean, I did get a few. I have had like cookbooks. I do get the books from the restaurants, and I have watched a few of Lennox Hasty stuff. I watched the Chef's Table. That's a really
It was pretty amazing, wasn't it? Really, I have to say, it was amazing.
Actually, first lockdown, I watched all of the Chef's Tables because
did you?
At the time, the fire one hadn't came out yet, so it was all the other ones I was catching up on because I never knew about it. And I went on there, thought, I'll see what's on there different, and I come across the Chef's Table. So I was watching all the different stories, all the transition, all the chefs and how their food has evolved from where they were to where they are now. It was just very inspirational for me. So when I come across recently the fire one, or people cooking on fire, and obviously the story of Lennox, that was more inspirational for me as well, and I took a lot out of that. And then that got me thinking, well, being someone who likes to go out and try the stuff for myself, that's where I started going around to the different places, that are doing it, like, Black Bear Barbecue, who've got a few venues now, Fire and Brimstone in Castle Hill. I went and tried theirs as well. It was really good. And I've engaged, and connected with the pit masters that work at these places. And I've even reached out to the ones in the States, the big known pit masters. I've gone to Meat Stock a few times, Meat Festival. and engage with these people and learn from these people and taken a lot out. And it has improved on how I do what I do at home, the same sort of stuff. And I've learned from them. And I mean, I've even exchanged different things that I've done differently, and it's worked for me, onto other people, and that's worked as well. So, I mean, reading books, getting involved, watching live videos, watching the chef's table, get on board, watch all these things, and it can teach you a lot of things.
Absolutely. Have you been to Fire Door?
I haven't. I want to go.
Okay, when we get out of this and we all kind of, it'll probably be after Christmas, because we're obviously going to come out of this and we're all going to be so busy. After Christmas, I'll take you to Fire Door.
That'd be great. I look forward to that.
It's a beautiful restaurant, and it's amazing. We can sit at the bar and we can actually watch Lennox and his team actually making the food.
I've few of the people that I speak to have been there, and they've had that experience there as well, and they've recommended to do it. And it's experience I wanted to do prior to this lockdown as well, but it didn't end up happening with everything going on. So definitely.
Well, that will be my gift to you when we come out of this. I'll take you to Fire Door. I think it'd be wonderful to see your face light up at watching it all happen. It's like watching a hymn.
It is, and it's much different being in person and seeing it, like going to Meat Stock and seeing how they do it in person, and going to these restaurants and going into their kitchens, like, and seeing their smokers and seeing all this and how they do it. It's just a complete different level to watching it like on the shows and things like, because then you're seeing them in their element in person rather than being recorded doing it. You're seeing them in the element, and the way they speak about it, it's just inspirational.
Yeah, and it's also very real. You're absolutely right. You see some of the tips and tricks that they do that you don't actually capture in a TV show as well, and that's quite cool. And I'm like you. I like to go to Meat Stock and a lot of those different types of what are they, the weekends away that they have, where the guys all and girls all come together and they're all in their little separate camps, and it's just a great weekend away. It
is, and I mean, it's the whole element that food brings people together.
Yeah.
And when you cook around a fire, when you're cooking on a fire, people will come around the fire and they'll all be together. They'll all be having a great chat. They're smelling the food. They just want to get their hands dirty and eat the food, and learning how to cook on the smoke and on the fire. It's just great. It's just a great atmosphere for me.
That's fantastic. So speaking of great atmosphere, so you're a bit of a gamer as well, I hear. You like your gamer?
Yeah, a wee bit.
Yeah, and is that another way that do a lot of chefs do gaming? And I'm not. I'm actually not. That's not a loaded question.
It's becoming more of a thing now. Like a few chefs I speak to, like, are right into it. I mean, I like to do it in my free time. I don't stream or anything like that. A few of my chef mates, a couple of staff members that work in my kitchen are actually serious gamers. They have live streams and things like that. I mean, I don't get right into it like that. I do enjoy gaming. Personally, it's part of my switch off when I come home from work doing the long hours. It sort of relieves the stress. I mean, engaging in something else, taking my mind off things. Just being a chef, you're always constant thinking, and I'm a thinker, so I'll just think all day long, and my brain won't stop. So when I'm playing a game, it's thinking of something else, and it's taking my mind off, even if it's just for a short period of time, before I call it in for the night.
Yeah.
And I mean, it did help me a little bit through the lockdown as well, because it's keeping me occupied when I'm not doing stuff for work. And I mean, it's a good thing. I mean, not a lot of people do it, but I mean, it works for me.
That's really good. And I think that everyone has their thing. Like, it is just what, and it is such a common way to be able to communicate now, is through the gaming. It's so popular. Everyone does it.
Yeah, they do. I mean, it's just one of those things that's also adapted in time as well. The old consoles, the old, Commodore, the old Commodore computer console to PlayStation 5, and then, all these apps on your phone. It's just evolved so much. And then those VRs are another level.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously, I'm a bit too old for that sort of stuff, but we were looking at the whole virtual reality piece for on farms and stuff like that. It's quite an interesting process. So
Yeah,
tell
definitely.
me, you know, I ask these questions of people, so I'm sure that you're prepared. But you're
Yeah,
having a dinner party and you have 10 people that you can invite to be around your table,
yeah.
and it could be anybody, past, present, future. Who would you have at your as your guests?
For me, engaging with people, as I said before, is a big thing. So, like, it wasn't when I was younger. I was very nervous to talk to people. I wasn't a very people person. But as I've gotten older, and it's the whole, being brought up the way my mum brought me up as well, caring for people and that. And now I engage with people as much as I can. Um, Bringing together a table of people would be, and it'd be an engagement of all multiple different sorts of people within my life, whether it's from family to friends, to colleagues, be everyone different, and then close people that I know, people I can learn from as well, almost like how would I put it? Be like going to one of those multicultural festivals and you got different ranges of people.
Yeah.
In a sense, that's what it'd be like for me, trying to bring everyone together that I can bring together, even if it's only 10 people from 10 different walks of
Okay.
life, bring everyone together and get along. You have your different times when you have your family get-togethers, you have your friend get-togethers, you have your work parties, staff parties, things like that. But for me, if I was to throw something like that, probably 10 wouldn't be enough for me.
Well, and I mean that kind of makes sense
You
when
wouldn't want
we've
anyone to
done
feel left
this,
out.
when we've done this whole conversation, and you've described yourself to be the person that you are, and that whole empathetic and the holistic approach that you take. It makes sense that you would want to have a whole festival.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't, it'd be something, if I was to do it, it'd be something I'd like to do more regularly so I can involve everyone so everyone doesn't feel left out. I mean, there's a lot of people that do it out there. I know a lot of people that I've been invited many times to people's places. And I mean, through lockdown, you can't do it. And then through the long hours and working and your days off are different, other people's days off, it's tough. It's tough, especially when you work in a big brigade of chefs. You want to be able to get together. And generally, the only time is when you have your staff party, at the end of the year for Christmas or whatever. That's generally the only time you can all get together. So it's tough. But to be able to invite people together, come together, enjoy food together, talk, listen to some music, engage in conversation, and hear people's stories, what they're doing in their life, their experiences, like you do on here with the people as well. It's just a good thing, So
Yeah.
engaging, having those relationships with people is a big thing and something everyone should take very seriously in their life.
I almost feel like I should end it there because I just don't know where we could even go. It was just, just to hear sometimes the way that you speak, you're just you've got such a beautiful spirit. You're so caring and kind, and I've really enjoyed chatting with you today. I have to say, it's been
Likewise.
very enlightening, and you make me want to go out and just be a better person.
Oh, you're a good person. I mean, everyone
Thanks.
can be better. Everyone can be better, but I mean, like I was saying before, when I was younger, I doubted myself. Now I feel that relationship I've built with people, I've become better from engaging with those people. It's something I like, being around people. I like to have that impact on people. It makes me feel better at the end of the day that I've made you happy. I've made even if it's just walking down and saying hello to a local, someone I never met before, and they're saying hello and saying hello back. I know they've got a smile on their face, they're happy. Even if it's just for a short period of time, they're happy.
That's
I like
beautiful.
having that impact on people. So,
well, you've certainly had an impact on people today. I have to say, you've had so many comments on here, but like we've had Paul Rivkin, Brad Bennett, Gary Stokes, Paul Brown, Anna Jane Dalton, Brad Carson, Julie Ballard, Adam Moore, obviously,
yep.
Jessica May.
Yep.
We've had Mike Colley, and there was some earlier actually. And when I'm looking at it through Facebook, I think Greg Holton was on there earlier as well.
Yep.
But yeah, you've had
well,
I think that he made a comment about it being like 30 years or something. Like, it must be because you're 30 or something. I don't know. I can't imagine that I didn't understand what it kind of meant. And I was trying to absorb what you were saying instead of reading the comments. But you've certainly had a lot of people reaching out saying g'day, which is wonderful.
And that's a good thing in my career as well. Like, I've got a lot of people saying, like, I've had my time through the industry, but there is a lot of people that I've looked up to and that have helped me progress in that time as well, who I've got to thank.
Well, I'm sure that there's a lot of people that have got to thank you as well. And I'm going to thank you right now. And
thank you.
You take care. And,
You too.
you know, I look forward to catching up and seeing you after the lockdown, but before we go to Fire Door. So it'll be,
yes,
I
definitely.
would like to head out to Penrith and see what's going on. I think it'll be exciting.
Definitely. I really enjoy these meetups. I mean, I've only just been out to the one that, you know, the Australian Culinary Federation have done. To be able to involve and be able to come to more of them once we come out of this lockdown is going to be a good thing for me as well.
Yeah.
But I do look forward to seeing you before then.
Yeah, it'd be lovely. And you take care. Lots of love
You
to your
too.
team. And
thank you.
Keep being you, my friend. You're awesome.
I will.
All right.
Thanks, Sis.
All
really
right.
appreciate it. Take care.
Pleasure. Bye-bye.
See ya. Thank you.